They had the best time ever, and they loved each other, and everything was great.
False.
And that's how we start. That's how the show starts.
That's how the show starts.
Yeah, we're up with it.
Welcome everyone to Content Pinning, the show After Hours. It's where we let our hair down, take our hats off, and just enjoy each other's bodily functions. I'm Travis.
I'm Dylan.
This is a little bit more
I'm
like
scared.
our old show, Drunk Ass Live, where we're just going to have a good time. The next 40 minutes or so, we're going to talk about the things we didn't talk about in the main show, contentpinning.com, the show, including boys. No, that's just for people.
Particularly boy people.
But we're still a podcast that takes place in Austin, Texas. We're still recording semi-live. It's live at Don's Depot at a bar around other people, humans and dogs that wander around or whatever.
Couple cats.
There's a couple cats. There's at least one cat. We like to deal with interesting people. We have Dylan Canfield. We call him Billy.com. I mean, that's his nickname.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, buddy. How's it going?
Hey, good.
Across from Adam McWaters.
Hello.
And we're all, I think we'd all say that we all have our own particular reasons for being pretty musically inclined.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
like we're not passionate about music, you know?
I think
Music is the best.
we're pretty
That's
much
all.
all
right.
kind of
Fairly
I
fairly
think
passionate.
Yeah.
I think we're all pretty much on the Passion Express.
Yeah. We don't have the exact same passions for the
Yeah.
exact same kinds
Yeah.
of music, but
Yeah.
we all we're not just like, hey, whatever's on the radio. We have our particular.
It's a large network of trains, and
If
we're
music-
on
Right.
possibly
Yeah.
different ones.
Yeah, I was saying, if music is a cruise ship, we're all on the same boat.
Right.
We're just different level. You're on the Lido deck. You know, I may be over here. You know,
I don't know if that was flattering or not because I don't know anything about cruise ships.
that was a love boat reference.
I'm not as rich as you. Oh, okay. Got
Dylan's
it.
in
Got
the
it.
salt pool.
I'm hanging out with Charo. You know,
Charo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Charo.
Billy.com has like a no ocean view. You know, barely underwater porthole kind of thing.
Well, yeah, but he's gonna get the hot girl at the end.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah, because he's down by the steam engines.
Yeah. Yeah. And he knows how to tildy hop or whatever.
Lindy Hop.
Lindy hop. Yeah.
It pays to know the writers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but we're just hanging out. We're having some drinks at
Where are you going with the whole music thing?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
saying that we were.
Oh no, I just realized that was like a common thread because, like I would say, like I'm kind of. I mean, I have a lot of like passions. I have a lot of things that I like, but I also try to fill them all out in a way. I know things that Canfield likes, and me, Canfield, and Adam all have video games in connection for sure. Canfield's he's staying with some of the older titles. Adam and I are both a little bit more advanced, and well, Adam's probably closer to the closest versions of games that come out because I haven't played like a new game in months and months or whatever.
I play new games.
But Dylan does not play really any video games except for Stick of Truth or South Park games.
And I stopped playing that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's the thing we can't.
He does need to play Beyond Good and Evil.
No, what I need to do is
Sure.
what I need to do is find myself an old school stand up version of Dragon's Lair.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm sure
And
that.
finally get past the
Shit.
third screen.
That's easy mode, man. I
Wait, do you actually need a cabinet for that, or don't you own a PlayStation 4?
think you need
No,
a
but
light.
I want a cabinet. Like,
You want the
you need
cabinet
a
with like
laser
the actual
disc
laser
player.
disc in it.
Yeah, you need.
You want the actual laser disc in it?
Yes.
Okay.
with
That-
Space Ace on the other side.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, fucking Space Ace. You know, have I ever told you about how Space Ace gave me anxiety as a kid?
No.
Yeah, I don't know why. There was
Was
some-
that the only thing? Really?
It was one of many things that gives Travis anxiety.
I don't have that many things that give me anxiety except for questions like this.
Why am I on the kitchen floor?
And raccoons, of course. Raccoons and their offspring, things that look like raccoons, things
Their
that raccoons
intentions.
eat, things that raccoons drop, especially bad jugglers.
Hide behind their masks.
Yeah, oh God. What do they have to hide?
Well, nobody
I
likes a
can't tell them
bad
apart.
juggler.
The thing about Space Ace was it was so weird. Is like, okay, so number one, if you don't know anything about Dragon's Lair was one of the few like simple cartoon titles. So
Don Bluth.
Don Bluth animation. It was a movie. It was a very short movie. And you were controlling the main character, Dirk, and you were trying to get him from point A to point B, and he only had, because it was a fucking movie, he only had one direction he can go, and you had to anticipate what direction that was and use a joystick or a button to either go that direction or swing a sword. And if you didn't do it, you died. And you like put in, at that point, it was like $30 to a kid my age. to die basically
No,
immediately.
it was realistically $30
It was
for all kids.
so fucking expensive.
Yeah.
It was expensive when I played it.
Yeah.
When it came out.
And it was beautiful, and like, and I remember specifically like because you watch that. It's the way that those things happen is like it was so strange to look at, but like ever so often with no one playing it, this huge voice would come out and say, "Oh, and Daphne is stolen by the Dragon Queen," or whatever. The wizard or whatever. You know, she's in the globe, and it's like, oh man, she's hot. I should play this sometime. Very loud. Whatever. So you have to go through this series of mazes and not die and get to the point where you get to the wizard and you have to stop the wizard. And once the wizard's stopped, then you get Daphne or whatever. And I remember watching, going into a place and seeing Dragon's Lair 2, and I never finished Dragon's Lair 1, so I really didn't, spoilers, worry about the second one. No. And then that voice was like, and the whole story was like, it looked like the beginning of the story was that him and Daphne are now married. Or wait, maybe they weren't married, and he married someone else. And the first part of the game was you just trying to escape the house to go on your adventure and not get murdered by your wife who's throwing pots and pans and shit at you. It's like,
I never
right.
saw that.
yeah, you remember that now?
I forgot about that completely.
Yeah. But Space Ace was another one of these.
Infidelity to the game.
But Space Ace was like, you're a captain, a super strong man, and this villain steals your wife or whatever.
He
uses a laser on you that turns you into a child. That for some reason that gave me some fucking crazy anxiety. I remember we were in the arcade at one of the Disney World resorts, and it was in there, and I remember hearing it was like the same voice because it was still the fucking Bluth animation.
Yeah.
But it was still the same voice. It's like, and just like my heart just starts beating so fucking fast. I was like, what is this? It's calling me. And it was about being fucking transmogrified into a fucking child. I was like, it was nuts. Yeah, how do we get on this topic? Oh, yeah, so we'll get you a laser disc with both of them, and I will not come over to your house. That's
probably not asking too much. I'm sure you can easily find.
Oh no! But
a Dragon's Lair.
I'm going to guess
arcade
$1,500.
$1,500.
But to Travis's point though, when that game came out, that was like '84, I think, maybe around there.
Oh, good Lord.
It still was like $30 in 1984 money to play for 10 minutes. Because it was the most expensive fucking game.
And I remember
ever.
it being the first game I ever saw that wasn't a quarter.
Yeah, it was like 50 cents or something.
And I don't know if it was 50 cents or even more, but I was like,
it was expensive.
How can you charge that for a game?
And
They cost a quarter.
Yeah,
I had many friends, and we'd pump.
Well,
found it, $5,500. Dragon's Lair
55.
and Space Ace.
Well,
and see.
Dear YouTube, Bugatti, please.
Do you guys remember? Yeah, right. Yeah,
that Dragon's Lair money, please.
Do you want to fund this idea we just came up with?
Like and subscribe. Give us a,
like and subscribe. YouTube.com/
We need 4,000 hours of watch content. Bring it.
Right. 400,000 probably. Do you guys remember the Time Cube game or whatever it was called?
Yeah.
What was it called? Time something.
It was that hologram quote in quote hologram game.
Time Traveler, I think is what it was called. It was basically the same concept. Same exact concept. Like it's a movie that's played out over a series of frames as movies are created.
But in a
animation.
dome.
But it's in like this, like, so you're actually looking down at a hologram.
A
the thing's
biodome?
popped up at you, and it has like these really simple like shapes behind it. But it's like it's the same thing. It's a guy trying to rescue a princess, basically, but it's a cowboy in this really strange universe. And like, I fell in love with it immediately, not because it's just the technological, like, what the fuck is this? You put your hand through the cowboy, whatever. Because that game was so fucking mean. So mean. And I'm not talking about like Dragon's Lair mean, where it's like, oh, you fuck up. It's like, there were multiple tracks. You do a thing, and in between the different rooms, like, you actually have a choice between the different universes that you're trying to go to basically get up to the very top and stop a wizard. Of course, it's always a fucking wizard. There's that. There was these weird little mini games that would pop up once in a while. One most specifically is if you hit the wrong thing, you say, the devil shows up and says, "Would you like to play a game?" And he's like mustached and like sexy. And you're like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "Welcome." It's like, it's a casino thing. It's it's a slot machine. And you hit it.
It's Cuphead.
And as far as I know, there's no way to not just get 666, which ends the game for you immediately. And he says, "Welcome to hell." And it's it. All the tokens you've put in, all the lives you have are completely gone.
Well, yeah.
Which is a really important thing, because the last thing about the game that was so interesting was three products, right? Like, you get 3 lives, and you get these time cubes. And the time cubes you use as soon as you're about to die. If you do something wrong, like this Eminem skeleton would show up with a hat, like cowboy hat. And like it would just jiggle its mouth like you fucked up. And so you can hit the time cube button and it would reverse time so you can try it again. And like they would get more and more complicated as you went on, like jumping and shooting whatever, and this and this, and eventually you get to a moment. If you got it right, you got to this super beautiful bikini-clad woman. It was like, "Would you like to buy more time cubes? They're a token apiece." And every time you put a token in, she went, "Ah, I love that." It makes you want to spend like $20 just to let her keep going. But then you go to hell and you lose everything. That's why it's me. That's why I love it. That's that's one of the most fascinating.
You have to premium now.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You have to understand, like, one of the most fascinating points about games like Dragon's Lair and Space Ace and Time fucking Cowboy or
Traveler,
whatever.
It was a Sega game. It was so weird.
Those are $30 games because there's literally nobody on Earth that is naturally good at them. They don't guide you. They don't hold your hand. They don't give you hints. They don't do anything.
If you were like incredibly fucking sharp, those games would flash something like I remember Dirk, Dragon's Lair, like you're on a platform or like whatever, and it would flash the other platform you're supposed to get to.
Yeah.
But I think, and even to your point, I think they actually fuddle with the controls a little bit more, where like you're trying to go left, and it's not in the right moment. It just flashed, and you try to go left, and it's like the controller said, "Oh, I thought you meant like left and up, so I just like killed you. Is that cool?" You know,
Right? Sure felt that way playing it.
It's a Noah's Arcade thing, you know,
right? Because they are like programmatically, they're incredibly rudimentary.
Yeah,
they're not. They ain't that smart.
Yeah,
and that's where the punishment comes in. Like, it's just that they are so difficult to work with by default that you can never just, unless you have actually done the $30 or more challenge to get through it, trying over and over and memorizing everything. Fucking motherfuckers were taking notes and shit on those things.
Yeah.
Well, like alternatively, you can spend $20 in tokens, actually walk away with money left over and beat the entire Simpsons arcade game, which was not only excellent and super fun and had up to 4 players, but also like an actual game that had the rules defined and you could fuck up a little bit. And not just like
less rudimentary.
You missed a pick. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It was a little bit more intelligent and it made it a smoother experience. Yeah. There's nothing smooth about those little like single action games. That's just literally a series of rote memorization.
Yeah,
that is
still want one.
That is the American.
We'll
that is the American public school system distilled into game form.
Damn. Okay.
It is rote memorization.
The verse, okay, yeah, I get it now.
It's
just punishment.
My times tables.
The letter 3,
my numbers.
Yeah. Those motherfuckers are punishers. They want nothing but your money,
and they don't really exist outside of these 4 major examples: Dragon's Lair 2, Time Warp, Dragon's Lair, Space Ace, and Time Travel.
Well, yeah, because right at the time, like other cabinets were coming out, and they were better, more fun, more enjoyable, easier to actually work with games. So they got nobody wanted to make another one of those because nobody fucking liked them.
Yeah.
Well, that and separate thing. Those particularly Space Ace, Dragon's Lair had insane production budgets to make those damn games happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Like those were like multi-million-dollar production.
Yeah, you got to make
single cell animation.
You got to convince Bluth to hand animate all of this shit.
Yeah, then compared to another game at the time, Robotron or something like that, or Dig Dug. 8-bit pieces of shit that you could play without even thinking about it.
But they were fucking fun.
Yeah, but yes.
Well, and there are other versions of Dragon's Lair that were created that were not in that same form. Like there was a Game Boy release, there was there was an NES game, there's a Commodore 64 game, and none of them were in the same way. You know, it wasn't until like CDI or the 3DO where they can actually have a Jaguar CD or whatever. But all these like
Jaguar
game systems.
Good I got that one.
Oh, you did. Wow.
Nice.
I'm surprised you didn't get the CDI because I remember seeing a CDI and thinking about it and realizing immediately. I was thinking it was like the electronics area, like a Sears or something, or Macy's or
Montgomery Ward.
Yes. Service merchandise.
While we're dating ourselves.
Actually, Service merchandise had a great electronics section. Whatever. I missed you. I'm wearing a hat now. I just said that to the people on youtube.com/content pinning. And then Amiga PC Dragon's Lair 3 Curse of Mordred. I was just looking for price, and I didn't know there was going to be like 18 fucking games.
Jesus. I had no idea they made that many ports.
Oh yeah. Well, it wasn't ports. These were like individual different versions of the game.
Yeah, they were.
Oh, Brain Dead 13 was another game like this. Yeah. What were they called?
I only never knew one person who had a Jaguar.
Oh, I didn't say I had one. I said I got the reference.
Yeah.
Well, no. What I mean is like, that was always just a reference to me growing up.
Yeah, I've never seen one in person. Yeah.
I have held its ridiculous controller. It smelled of cigarettes, the entire system.
From the factory.
Probably from the factory.
Dirk the Daring is a knight attempting to rescue Princess Daphne from the evil dragon Singe, who has locked the princess in a foul wizard Mordok's castle. It features animation by Disney animator
1983.
Don Bluth, 1983. And I just saw how much the development was, and I think I saw it was $1 million and took 7 months to complete.
Yeah. Now, $1 million
in 83. Oh, yeah.
That's actually, that's a shitload of money in 83. And B, that is a really quick fucking turnaround for hand animation.
For hand animation, yeah. Genius.
Well, are they hand-drawn cells?
Yeah. Because that's all they could do back then. Yeah, they put on Laserdisc. And what were they actually call these games? Laserdisc video game. It's like literally that's what they call the genre of those games.
Although
choose your own adventure.
I do like how it goes to the point you guys were making earlier about the simplicity of the game, because 7 months for a game production is not a lot of development time.
Right.
For the underlying construct of how the game operates. Of course, these things were fed on Laserdisc, which was basically a VHS length of storage capacity.
Right. But data, like straight data instead of
amounts of data. I mean.
Yeah.
So you only had choices of like left, right, up, no.
Well, I know, but like that was the part of the $1 million
quarters, please.
Everything was die. Add more quarters.
Of the $1 million budget that they had. Like the vast majority of that 7 months worth of money is going to the guy in
drawing the hand animation
for 24 hours a day. Like, not so much, because like the programmers are going to look at that and go, "Oh, you have literally the cardinal directions and a timing thing, and otherwise you die."
Yeah,
done.
Yeah.
Like you're 15 minutes and you're done.
Yeah.
Like you just sit there and you go and you
one
jack off.
It's one
in the
if
office.
then statement.
Yeah, like there isn't a whole lot behind.
Yeah.
I think there are important strides in arcades, in gaming in general. I really do. But they're unforgiving because they're bullshit.
Right. Yeah, it's like,
they're beautiful
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah. That's also the concept. Like it's one of my favorite old websites. It's called pointlesswasteoftime.com. Which eventually turned into crack.com. The same people who wound up doing crack.com.
And then turned into crack.com as it is now.
Right. Which is fine, whatever.
Crack.com.
But a pointless waste of time, you used to actually do these really interesting and in-depth psychological journeys into what AI is and what video games are. And I've mentioned before on other podcasts and other things, but it's the concept of the monkey sphere. And the monkey sphere is a bubble about the size of about maybe 12 people who are internal and external, either friends or family, about which version of those people you would start to give a shit about less. Outside your monkey sphere are the people that you do not care about. No. Individual single people. So it's like your mailman is not inside the monkey sphere, but he's just adjacent enough that you want to tip him during Christmas. Little bonuses. Your parents are right inside the monkey sphere. And it's like that, and I love this idea, especially because the mental image of the monkey sphere, lizard brains and monkey spheres as just terms are fun for me. But there was a long conversation about how video games that are based on original or non-original IPs, like especially Star Wars games. Star Wars games that have these big long cinematics are always fucking up the one thing, which is when you try to take that story and then make it into a game, you are literally only able to play the game that you've already watched the movie of. Like you're just watching the movie. Or you're dying. There's no other options. Like you have to get from corridor A to corridor B and not get shot in the face. That's it. The story is either you succeed in the story you know already, or you die. And these, and that was probably a more interesting thing about the whole Don Bluth era of these video games is it was a brand new story, no replayability. So I'm sure there was some kind of controlled frustration, like the Noah's Arcade reference I made earlier. Is like, you don't want them to be able to beat it because they'll definitely never fucking play it again. It's like, oh, I remember that movie I played? Yeah, no, that was great. What else are we doing, We're going to throw rocks in the quarry. It's the 80s. There's nothing else to fucking do.
Hey, leave quarry rock throwing alone.
But those important historical pastimes, just like curling.
Times,
Yeah,
man.
just like curling. That's where curling came from, yeah.
.com knows this.
Cheers to age.
Cheers to that. Yeah, so only $5,500. I think we did that.
Yeah.
Totally easy.
Indiegogo.
Yeah.
I am going to make it a personal mission to eventually have like some sweaty dude in coveralls show up to your house to roll in a big box on a dolly into your home.
With a
You'll
Tesla.
place it down,
With that test.
and you will open up that big box, and it will be a cabinet of Dragon's Lair,
Thanks, man.
the laser disc.
Yeah. That's hot.
Yeah, super hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
mine,
then I'll hear that voice and go, oh, God.
I only have like 3
Go for it.
years left because, I'm old, so hurry up.
You hear that?
Let's, here's the voice.
Hurry it up.
Here's the voice.
Oh, yes.
Dragon's Lair, a fantasy adventure where you become a valiant knight.
Oh, if
Quest
only
to
they had
rescue
so
the
hard.
fair princess from the clutches of an evil dragon. You control the actions of a daring adventurer finding his way through the castle of a dark wizard who has infested it with treacherous monsters and obstacles.
And
In the mysterious
the trailer's just like, you dying. Here's you dying again. Here's you dying again.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the Space Ace trailer.
Yeah.
I don't know why this one gave me such creeps. I'm going to not...
Space Ace, defender of justice, truth, and the planet Earth. Ace is being attacked by the evil Commander Borg.
Hold your fire! Who is that creep?
Borg.
Earthlings must surrender to me.
No way, Borg, old buddy.
I've been hit by the Infanto Ray.
Earthlings must surrender to me.
Infanto Ray.
Struggle with Dexter to regain his manhood. Destroy the Infanto Ray.
I think I just figured it out.
There's your exactly. Yeah.
Honey, I Shrunk the Space Ace.
Your hands are too small to play this game.
So again, like, considering it
You must
too,
be at least this tall to ride.
the arcade version of it is like, you're hanging out, you're doing something else, and all of a sudden you just hear out of the fucking nowhere, you hear,
Space
what is
Ace.
that? Oh my God, what happened to him?
Quarters.
yeah. So
That's
stupid.
still better than Daytona, USA. That cabinet. Oh my God.
The full game. Okay, so someone actually playing and like recording the full game
Space Ace?
of Space Ace is 7 minutes and 32 seconds.
The whole game?
Yeah.
Dragon's Lair is 11 minutes and 38 seconds.
God, it seemed like hours as a kid.
Yeah.
That's because you died every second.
True
It's also
story.
because you only fit 11 minutes of content on a laser disc.
Yes. Well, you had to flip them over.
And at the time, you just spent 6 months worth of allowance
That's true, too.
to die over and over again to try to figure this fucking shit
Dexter,
out.
the Infanto.
I was using my lunch money.
Sure. That's why you're so skinny.
Yeah.
Well, and then I would beg a free lunch out of the school lunch people anyways.
Sure.
Like, I can't afford it.
Yeah. Right.
Video games.
You took care of yourself, is what you're saying. Took care of it.
Hit the Pac-Man fever.
What was the most?
did.
It drove him crazy.
So I've obviously made this huge point that it was the most memorable arcade game probably ever in my entire life. What was y'all's? Like, Billy, what's the game, the cabinet, specifically arcade cabinet that stuck out to you?
Well, that's a hard one because I was there for the very first video
I know,
games.
that's why I'm asking.
I don't know.
God damn it,
Lunar
Billy.
Lander, I think it was called. That was like the very first game that showed up.
Wait, Lunar Lander or Moon Jumper or whatever that
No,
was?
no.
Moon
this
Patrol.
This is just like
Had it on
a
Atari
white line.
2600,
It's like asteroid
motherfucker.
style graphics.
Sure.
And you're trying to land on. There's different platforms, and all you can control is the thrust. So your little lunar lander's falling down.
Yeah.
I played it on my Commodore PET.
Yes.
Sure.
Took an hour and a half to load from my tape. That's not a joke.
No,
I remember. I remember.
It didn't load that. It didn't take that long to load for me, but I did remember playing Buck Rogers on the Atom on tapes, cassette tapes, whatever.
Yeah.
And Zaxxon. I remember Zaxxon.
Zaxxon was fucking rad.
Zaxxon was dope.
I had Zaxxon with my ColecoVision.
Yeah.
And man, that thing, That was probably the game I played the most when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That was a great game.
Yeah.
It was. It was nice.
Adam, what was the other thing, the arcade cabinet that stuck out to you the most?
Well, for what reason? I guess I'd
Just-
have to pare it down.
No, can't.
Just pick one.
Yeah, pick one.
Okay, so growing up in arcades, that was my home. It was awesome.
Yep.
I would cite, as far as the most memorable ones, for better or worse, again, the horrid shriek from the Daytona, USA. Daytona! Yeah.
Cruising.
There was apparently no volume control on that. Or upon high school. Thanks.
Spring break.
Or any what was the one with the combos? Killer Instinct.
Oh, Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct was a huge thing because that was the cabinet that always had the massive crowd around it when it first came out.
Of course.
And whenever you heard that speaker go off when someone got an ultra combo, the whole place went fucking nuts.
Of course. Yeah.
It was super fun.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that game. It's boring as shit to me.
Of course.
But like when it first hit the scene, like that was a formative event. It was a big deal.
I surprisingly have a lot to choose from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dragon's Lair, tight.
Dragon's Lair is tight.
The start of this entire conversation.
Yeah.
But like
The whole episode, really. Yeah.
when I was a younger, .com and I are of the same era. Like video games were all brand new. Like, the console games was that was how we spent our childhood. You know,
Yep.
like we go to the 7-Eleven and play video games for 3 hours.
Right.
That was a thing.
Right.
But the games that stuck out, there were Arcade Pole Position was a tight one. Love that. Was right. Tempest.
Tempest is
Tempest
fucking
is
amazing.
fun.
Tempest
Yes.
was probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Quicks was the game that was alright.
QIX?
Yeah.
Was that the one you had to
Kicks. Yeah.
You had to make
Yeah.
boxes, right?
Yeah,
And things
yeah,
to bounce
yeah.
around? I was
Yeah,
talking about
that was the
earlier.
one
you
with
were.
pizza delivery
Yeah,
problems.
That was
Yeah.
a tight one.
Number one cause of pizza delivery problems.
Galaga was pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, Joust, of course.
Joust. I was
Joust was great.
where I was going to close that thing off was Joust and one other one because
Combat.
my dad worked for 7-Eleven back in the day, and his job was he was in charge of video game and magazine placements.
Sure.
And so, when I was like 10 years old, he used me to product test games. There was a video game
Sounds
convention
terrible.
up in Dallas.
Right.
It was the whole point of this video game convention was there are 50 or 600 consoles here that are all brand new games that have not been in stores yet.
Yep.
We want to hire people. We bring people from 7-Eleven, from arcades, come to the expo, and which ones do you guys want to have in your stores? And we'll sell you on the contracts, whatever.
Sure, yeah.
My dad brought me to test drive the games.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, we kids
Any
your
smart
age,
parent would at that
and-
point in time.
and at that event, the reason 7-Eleven stores got Joust because I picked it.
This guy.
Yeah. Nice.
That is not a joke.
Yeah, that's why I have the Joust placard over my entrance.
I am
actually.
the reason Joust exists
You're the
at
reason
7-Eleven.
that Joust probably continue to exist. You know.
But the point of all that, there was one game there at that expo that stuck out that I never saw ever again, which was unfortunate. It was an Atari game. It was right when Atari was trying to fumble around, are we doing consoles or home stuff?
Right.
And they had done a partnership, I think, with Midway or and it was
1942 represent.
I can't remember what the game was, and I never. All I have in my memory is like a one flash of what this console was. It never made it to any market,
Okay.
but it had graphics that were like 10 years ahead of its time.
Well, explain any of it. Anything.
Oh no,
Anything you remember?
I can't.
Nothing. Not at
Yeah,
all.
because I know for
None
a
of
fact
the-
the game never made it to market. It was too expensive to produce.
The game was not the cabinet had a game that was too expensive.
Yes, like the graphics in that game were 10 years ahead of its time in 1982.
Okay.
So that's why my dad put Joust in 7-Eleven.
Was it Polybius?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I really don't.
Polybius is an urban legend in the cabinet community. Polybius is an arcade title that doesn't actually exist. It's one of the first. It's one of the first conspiracy theories of from arcade games. And the idea was that the FBI created this arcade game that would kill people basically.
Well, that's Last Starfighter.
I was going to say Last Starfighter.
Didn't actually.
It's the opposite of Last
yeah,
Starfighter.
exact opposite. Yeah.
You're not trying to find the guy who's going to save the world or
It's just
galaxy
trying to-
or whatever. You're trying to kill the guy who's playing the
Oh,
game.
hey, Tron was also a good video game.
I-
I'll tell you the worst video game I ever played. Journey.
Oh,
The
yes.
video game.
Journey, the game.
Journey's awful.
the Krull cabinet was also pretty shitty.
I never played that one. Yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty shitty.
I believe you.
Because you could throw like 5 Krulls, and I'm like, there's only fucking 1 Krull. Just watch the fucking canon, all right?
Yeah.
Watch the movie first before you go.
God, did you even see the movie?
Jesus Christ, guys.
Oh my god.
I do have 2 titles I need to mention.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Becky,
I
look at these crawls.
Becky.
Spy Hunter and Elevator Action.
Hunter.
Spy Hunter was amazing.
Spy Hunter was
really
really
amazing.
good.
Spy Hunter I played on the cabinets. Elevator Action I played on the Nintendo Entertainment System. But yeah, Spy Hunter was amazing.
Yeah, the music, the whole concept. Driving into the back of the
That
semi
was
to
the
get
best.
a new special weapon.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
No, that was a really good game. I love that one.
River Raid was one of the games I played on Atari.
Oh, yeah.
It was my first video game that I ever played. When I was super fucking young, and it was the first red flag with my relationship with my uncle Ed that I talked about in real life in another podcast for such a piece of shit that he was. Whatever. But he used to get so mad that I would beat him at River Raid. And I was like 5 or 4 or whatever. It's like, you understand this. Like, there's no literal reason to stand on the mountain and scream at a 4-year-old because they're better at video games than you are. You should look inwardly, buy some mirrors.
Right.
You know?
You didn't grow up with this.
Right.
Yeah.
Peter Drunklage.
Peter Drunklage, yeah. Polybius is a fictional 1981 arcade game that originated from the urban legend created in 2000. The original game's actual existence has never been authoritatively proven, but has served as inspiration for several free commercial games with the same name. Urban legend is that the game was part of a government-run, crowdsourced psychological experiment with gameplay producing intense psychoactive and addictive effects on the player with few publicly staged arcade machines were said to have ever visited periodically by Men in Black for the purpose of data mining the machines and analyzing their effects. They allegedly disappeared from the arcade market. That's the first urban legend, and then I think that's the first step in some kind of entertainment being art.
Yeah.
It's urban legends about them, and not just like play the record backwards or people who play Dungeons and Dragons find hell or whatever.
Watching Candyman.
Yeah, or we're just watching
In reverse.
or
Yeah.
watching it in reverse. That just tells you to go back to school or not do drugs or something.
Right.
Stay
Stay in school.
And
We
that's,
can
and that's
only
where
hope.
Gruff the Crime Dog came from.
Take a bite out of crime.
Hey, go buy you out of
Arcade cabinets, like, that's, I think, one of the reasons why I'm less inclined to do anything on consoles.
Yeah,
But like PC's okay for me because I had to build that shit, right?
of course.
But arcades were a huge deal to me. So
Yeah.
I was a Neo Geo kid. I didn't not had one, but aspired
It
to
was
have
so
one.
fucking expensive.
They
in
were
Neo Geo.
ridiculously
I
expensive.
was a Toys R Us kid.
But until you realize that there's an arcade at the shopette or whatever on base, and those are Neo Geo cabinets, so it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So like, the Samurai Showdown games,
Of course.
I loved them. While I wasn't a huge Tekken fan,
Metal Slug.
Metal Slug,
King
one
of
of
Fighters was Neo Geo 2.
King of Fighters, I was huge into.
Waku Waku 7, which is it's actually a Mega Man ripoff. That's fine.
Which also King of Fighters was precursored by a number of different other IPs. It's like Fatal Fury.
Fatal Fury. Yeah.
Was the biggest of those IPs.
Yeah.
But then they culminated to King of Fighters, and that was an awesome, amazing thing.
Yeah.
Who did Versus Excite Bike? Was that
Sega.
it was Sega?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh wait, no. Versus Excite Bike.
Yeah, Versus
Excite Bike was
Excite
an
Bike.
original Nintendo game, or was it Nintendo?
Yeah, I thought it was a Nintendo. It was like one of the first multi-game consoles in the arcade.
I only remember playing Excite Bike on a console on the flat top arcade cabinet at a Chili's. Actually, the first Chili's I ever went to. Yeah, that's why I had to go back to Chili's.
Fuck this game and fuck this place.
Bump
Said
and jump.
young Travis.
Yeah. I'm tired of this place. Finish my whiskey.
8-7.
Yeah.
Because it's the 80s.
So before we worst console.
The worst console I
The
ever
worst
owned?
console is the Atari Jaguar.
Well,
No, like console arcade game.
Okay.
Like,
The worst cabinet?
yeah, cabinet. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, I just remembered another one that I absolutely love and I want to talk about all the time. It's called an irritating stick. Irritating stick was. If you
That's
don't know,
clearly from Japan.
it is. It was super Japanese. The idea was
The name sounds.
so it's a maze game with a ball and you have a ball cursor thing. You're just rolling this ball, whatever. You get this ball out of a maze that's kind of twisting and turning or whatever. Simple concept. They called it irritating stick. I don't know why. Maybe it was a Japanese translation. They said, well, how do we make it look like a stick? So the animation when you start was literally someone holding a stick and then an animation of the stick going down until it was just the end of the stick. So now it looked like a circle. So now it was a stick that you're holding up. Who cares? But the interesting thing about it was an interactive game in the sense that it actually had semi-real consequence. So if you one coin is one life.
Yeah.
If you hit the sides, it would yell at you, and air would blow out of the cabinet onto your face. And I played it multiple times, and every single time I played it, it was more and more terrifying because you knew that there's something really physical was going to happen to you. It was fucking fascinating. And it was just like tough severe, like the glaucoma test, you know? But yeah, sorry, I never want to miss the chance to...
Cruising.
But I actually... The worst...
The Cruising USA
Cruising
was
USA.
definitely a runner-up.
The worst cabinet game I ever played was called Time Killers. Was it Time Killers? Adam, do you remember the game I'm talking about?
Yep. It's a terrible fighter game.
It's an absolute terrible
like
fighter
the
game.
Mantis guy
Yep.
and the dude who I tried to get good at it.
It was ugly.
It was hideous.
The animation was disgusting and stupid. It was really super violent, but also like cartoonishly violent.
Right.
And there was even like a button that would just like decapitate people and just like kill people immediately. And I played it at Astroworld in Houston, and I never went back to it. And yeah, it was
that game
awful.
was retarded for a number of very fundamental reasons. One of which was you could literally saw like limbs off of people.
Yeah, it's
While
it's
you're
a weapon-based
fighting-
fighter too. So like you
Okay.
can saw off their left arm. Which
Now,
it,
they literally-
conceptually that sounds cool.
Yeah, conceptually it sounds cool, but what that meant for the other player is you have a button that no longer does anything.
Yeah, it was like left arm, right arm.
because the left arm
leg.
had to start it, but now you don't have a left arm.
yeah.
And
That makes sense. Also sounds terrible from a
Yeah.
gaming
It-
perspective.
It
Yeah.
made it sounded really ambitious at the time, but it made for a really shit game.
And I didn't even know this was a thing because I'd never played the game more than one token. But apparently, like you can, if you beat the game without any arms, it'll say "armless win."
Bob.
That's pretty great.
That's nice.
Yeah, there was some.
So
there
that's
was,
that's definitely the one I'm thinking.
Yeah, there was a lot of dog shit out there.
What was your least favorite dog shit?
Oh shit! Fucking so many. Actually, honestly, my honest like true down to the root of my heart least favorite arcade game is actually way later in the arcade life, prior to its absolute dissolution.
Sure.
Was Rival Schools, and you know why?
Rival Schools was in the arcades. I didn't know that.
I played it. The first time I ever played it was at La Fun on Guadalupe.
What the fuck? It was that fun?
Yeah.
Oh, what a shame.
And at first, it was
would've
me.
gotten
It was me. It was my fault. I said, "Hey Ben, check out this awesome game I'm having a great time with all by myself."
Sure.
And then it came out for consoles,
On
and we
PlayStation,
brought
yeah.
it home.
Yeah.
And I swear to fucking Christ,
They had the best time ever, and they loved each other, and everything was great.
false. Banjo
Now
and
we're
I,
married.
Banjo and I stopped being friends for 15 minutes because of that fucking shithole game.
Yeah, that game was just too good for him.
Button Mashers fucking paradise piece of shit game.
Oh, I would ruin you guys,
Anyway.
you button mashers. Trying to play that game with a button masher, I would make you cry. I'd make you never want to be my friend ever again.
No, you wouldn't. You know why?
Well, because you're never going to play it again. Yeah, I know.
Correct.
There it is. There it is.
Yes, Banjo and I, we learned our lesson.
Nah, you just got to play it for longer than 15 minutes, I guess. And,
We played it for hours.
oh, we never got good at it. I mean, you just kept...
You banked.
Oh, man. That was the game where, because I had it on PlayStation, I was so excited about it. So excited about it. I had it on PlayStation, had to come over to the house. People were playing it. Like, everyone at the house was playing it. We had lots of parties, like after high school, pre-college or whatever. Lots of parties. People coming over and playing and playing and playing. And if one person showed up who was actually kind of good at the game, they'd like, I'd be just, in my bedroom or in the kitchen and be like, "Hey, Travis, we need your help." And like I'd come over and just whip the living shit out of him. Like it wasn't even like not even something I was like necessarily proud of as much, like because everyone else was really competent. We've been
Because
playing.
there's no reason to be proud of winning in that game because it's just bullshit.
You're talking about a different game now. I missed that context because this game is actually really complicated and far more
So
fascinating than you
nuanced.
remember. It is actually pretty nuanced for
isn't.
Japanese fighters, whatever. So everyone in our group got really, really fucking good, and no one can actually beat me. But it was literally this moment in time where they're like, "Hey, Travis, like, please," and it was like, just I would beat people down to the point where they'd never come back to the apartment again. But I would never be mean about it, you know, like never. It's like, all right, cool. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna finish my fucking joint, you know. Love the shit.
In college days,
college days, yeah.
He's saved it all for me. Fuck that game. And fuck Travis.
Billy, what was your least favorite arcade game of all time?
Well, not that it's a bad game. Defender. I just was terrible at Defender.
Okay.
No matter how many.
Or was it Stargate Defender? No one knows.
Just regular Defender. I was
They
terrible
reran
at
it
that
several
game.
times.
I didn't like it.
Did they?
Yeah.
Now I can't even remember what Defender was. Now that you've added that weird chunk to it.
Ugh, God, it was awful.
You're flying in space and you have to shoot things.
And you got to pick up little humans. And
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're the sharp. You're like the
Yeah.
You're a
You're almost
DeLorean.
like a
Like
Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you didn't
Okay.
move the joystick to left or right, you would fall because the gravity is pulling you down.
right.
Just like the man.
Yeah.
That was tough, but I actually
It's a tough game. Yeah.
I remember being pretty satisfied with the explosion effects being pretty cool.
It wasn't bad.
No,
Go back
decent
and forth
game.
because you can fucking super travel like because it looped right.
Yeah.
If you just go right, you can just keep going.
Yeah, it was the first
It was
game I ever
just a
saw that.
continual
Yeah.
loop.
Yeah.
It was the first game I ever saw that you actually could go in different directions. You could go forward or backward.
Right.
And the game would still kind of continue.
This-
It wouldn't necessarily. You weren't getting any points, but you actually could go backwards if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can completely ruin yourself by just
Yeah.
like because it looped. Yeah.
Does anyone remember the Afterburner cabinet?
Yeah.
It was that you flew
fighter
the
pilot?
F-14, the
Yeah.
fighter pilot. It was a shooter. That was historically, consistently one of the worst possible arcade cabinets because some fucking kid like poured cherry coke just in the right spot to make so you can only turn left. Like it's like this. A friend of ours has a dog that is not omnidirectional. The dog will never turn right. The
Not
dog
an
always, no
ambi-turner.
matter how
Zoolander.
complicated,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
only turns
Yeah.
left.
Always turns to the left in a circle.
Yes,
to go that way.
I have witnessed this dog. It's insane. It is a broken creature. And that's the Afterburner cabinet to me. It's like you have an 85% chance that this is fucked to hell.
That's the saddest thing in the whole world to me.
It is the saddest thing.
That's why I really started to enjoy the weird Japanese ones. They're all motion controlled. Before La Fun closed, they had all these like. No, it was Einstein's. Einstein's was the smaller one, right?
Yeah.
These are awesome.
Einstein's was a
arcades.
smaller but better one because they had Soul Calibur 2, which is the greatest
Fuck yeah,
fighter
and this is
ever created.
and that's where I think that I
And
met
if you
Adam
want-
and Benjamin the first time.
It's possible. It's
Yeah,
very
very
possible.
possible,
We were
yeah.
there all the time.
Yeah.
And also, if you want a nuanced fighter, it's that.
Oh, of course, yeah, far better. Yeah,
Definitely not Rival Schools.
No, Rival Schools was incredible. I agree, but Soul Calibur 2 was far better for sure. Yeah. Far better than great. I agree.
Greatest fighter ever.
Yeah, Rival Schools, and then above that was Soul Calibur 2.
Jesus. Go home.
Yeah, it's time to go home. Let's wrap this stuff up. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Content Pinnings After Hours. I hope you had as much fun as we did recording it, enjoying it. Billy, you still have a bit of a shot, so let's go ahead and
Cheers.
cheers that out of you. Cheers that out of your drinks over there, Adam.
I like that idea. Cheersing it out of him.
Yay.
Yeah.
We do that again.
Cheers to that.
Do over.
Billy, thanks for coming and hanging out with us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Adam, thanks for coming and hanging out with us.
Thank you so much.
Dylan, thanks for helping run the show.
Natch.
I like the show. You want to know more about the show? I'll go keep that because it just feels so good to say it out loud. Go to contentpinning.com. Go to facebook.com/contentpinning. You go to @contentpinning on Twitter. We're also contentpinning.com, which is all one word, contentpinning, DOTCOM, on Instagram. You can find everything that we do to update there. If you like to subscribe to podcasts and you like this show or anything else we might be able to do, go to iTunes, go to Stitcher, go to Google Play, go to anything where you get podcasts, go to your phone. You have a podcast app. If you don't have a podcast app, go get a podcast app and go download this fucking show. It's just as good as listening to murder porn. But you won't feel sad afterwards, I guess. You can go to questions@contentpending.com or 802-359-7468. That's 802-359-SHOT. You can leave a voicemail or text, and you can get us to answer the questions you have about video games, or maybe your favorite arcade cabinet or your least favorite arcade cabinet. And it's fun. Also, if there's any reason to do it, just go ahead and do it. This is the end of the show where I've had drinks, so I'm losing steam. What were we saying? Oh, yes, youtube.com/contentpending. You can go to youtube.com/contentpending to maybe see the video that we produced to this. Unless we didn't like any of it, then I'm pointing at nobody. Anyway, I'm Travis, and we love you so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Content pending.